We are a caring and welcoming religious community dedicated to diversity of thought, social and environmental justice, and peace for all. Welcome to our Sunday service honoring the solstice and fathers. The seasons on Earth change because the planet is slightly tilted on its axis as it travels around the sun. This means different points on Earth receive more or less sunlight at different times of year. Here we are at summer solstice, receiving light from approximately 6 a.m. until almost 10 p.m. each day. If Earth were not tilted, the sun would always appear directly above the equator, and the light given would be fixed for any given location. There would be no seasons, no need to mark equinoxes or solstices. Our solstice service today takes us to Egypt and to India, and we hope it will help you enjoy the sun wherever you are. Our chalice lighting words today come from Aaron Bruce. The element of summer is fire. The powerful fire of the sun will grow and nourish all the plants in the gardens over the summer weeks ahead. Autumn harvests wouldn't come without the sun, and we are reminded that the sun is sacred. Fire is sacred. Just like Earth's powerful sun, we each have our own inner fire, your own sun burning inside of you. It nourishes your hopes and dreams. Your inner fire is the fierce, powerful part of yourself. The you that does the hard work of bringing your dreams to life, in the same way that crops would cease to grow without the earth's sun, your life would shrivel without your own inner fire. The summer sun reminds us to celebrate our own inner fires. Terra?
Thanks, Lisa, for passing it over. So, a little opening word to help kind of shape our service today, although Lisa did such a good job already. I'd like to start a little with an ancient Egyptian prayer. Great and living Aten, ordaining life, vigorously alive, our Father, our wall of millions of cubits, our reminder of eternity, our witness of what is eternal, who fashions himself with his own hands, whom no craftsman has devised, who is established in rising and setting each day ceaselessly. Whether he is in heaven or on earth, every eye beholds him without hindrance, whilst he fills the land with his rays and enables everyone to live, with seeing whom our eyes are satisfied daily in his temple of the Aten, and fills it with his own self by means of his rays, beauteous with love, and embraces us with them in life and power forever. This prayer to the sun was written thousands of years ago by the Pharaoh Akhenaten, who saw the sun as more than just the source of all physical light, heat, and life, but also as the spiritual consciousness center of the universe. Akhenaten attempted to create a religion based on his spiritual understanding of the sun, and his astronomers pursued research as far as was possible at the time. Today, we're celebrating the summer solstice in conjunction with Father's Day, with an emphasis on the energetic essence of language. As part of the service, we will ask those of you who feel moved to share a word, phrase, or sentence that you feel represents or communicates an essential meaning of fatherhood. Words are powerful, thus we'll end with a message about the vibrational use of mantra and offer a short practice. So this is your heads up to maybe think as we move through the service of what words, phrases, or maybe sentence you would like to contribute to our service today. I believe now it is time for announcements.
I have one announcement. As many of you know, next week, Saturday, is our BUUF camp out. And I'm really excited that we have so many fun things planned. So many people are contributing activities and food, things like that. So we're going to have Susie and Glenn showing us how to do pickleball. We might have some pickup basketball, some soccer games, cornhole. Again, Susie and Glenn are planning a rock painting activity for us. Catherine Line is planning some nature-based artwork, a scavenger hunt, a bonfire. We're so lucky to have Les joining us to lead us in a sing-along around the campfire. So we have so many fun things planned, and that's not even the whole list. We hope you can join us. Activities start at 2. You're welcome to stay through the end of the activities, just come for the afternoon, or even more fun, stay overnight, because in the morning we have more activities planned. For example, Terra has agreed to lead us in outdoor yoga. So if you can make it, please send me an email at office@berrienuu.org so that we can plan, make sure there's space for everyone who wants to come and plenty of materials. And the one other thing I want to announce is you probably all received a special announcement. Thursday or Friday, we sent it, I think Friday, Friday, we sent out a special announcement about the mindfulness workshop. And also Lisa Fuller is heading up a task force to introduce hybrid services in July. And in order to make them meet the needs of as many people as possible, it's really important to have your input. So if you please pull up that special BUUF announce you received and submit your responses to the survey, that would be wonderful. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Joanne. I see Nancy. Okay, just a moment. Nancy, go ahead.
Hi, last Sunday I got overly excited about the fact that Calling All Colors got 2 grants, one from the Upton Foundation and one from the Berrien Community Foundation. So now they're up to $20,000 that they have in their coffers, which is great, but they need 25. So I thought it was all done, but they'll still be raising some money. Just wanted to clarify that. Thanks.
Are there any other announcements for the good of the community? When the words appear on your screen, please join me in reading our affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. When the words appear on our screen, please join me in reading our offering words. This fellowship is the community of ourselves. Its resources are our resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm our lives within it. And thank you all for your generosity. All right, and to the story for all ages. I mentioned in the opening words that we were traveling today from Egypt into India. And in her opening words, Terra referenced Akhenaten. And I want to share the story of Akhenaten and his short worship of the sun. Akhenaten was a pharaoh in Egypt about 3,000 years ago, and he's is here with his beautiful wife, Nefertiti. They had 3 daughters together. Before Akhenaten was Pharaoh of Egypt, the people there worshipped many different gods. Akhenaten understood that the sun was very important to life, and he saw that it was good for living creatures on earth. He saw that when the sun set, many living creatures would go to sleep. So he decided that the people of Egypt should worship only the sun. When the Pharaoh was born, his parents named him Amenhotep. But when he changed Egypt's religion to a new god, a sun god called Aten, he also changed his own name from Amenhotep to Akhenaten. Akhenaten means Aten is pleased, or the sun god is pleased. Here is a sculpture of Akhenaten and Nefertiti and 3 of their daughters. This sculpture is thought to be a household altar. Akhenaten decided that only he and his wife would represent Aten, the sun god, on earth. This upset the priests of Egypt, and after Akhenaten died, Egypt returned to its old religion. In this part of the relief, you can see Akhenaten holding one of his baby daughters. You can see him gently cradling her in his hands, one hand cradling her head, and you can see the baby's arm extending toward mother and sisters. Here is Queen Nefertiti with 2 of the other daughters, and you can see that the one daughter is pointing toward her father and her sister. She's holding her mother's hand. And then the other little one is perched on Nefertiti's shoulder and playing with her earrings. In the middle, between Akhenaten and Nefertiti, is a representation of the sun, which they call the solar disk. And at the end of each of the rays, you can see a little hand, and in some places, the Ankh symbol that in Egypt means the key to life. Because the priests of Egypt were upset with Akhenaten's determination that Egypt would transition from worshiping many gods to just the one god, the sun, after Akhenaten's death, Egypt returned to its old religions. So the worship of the sun was a short period in Egypt, but Akhenaten is remembered for his fatherhood, his worship of the sun, and the changes to Egyptian art that occurred while he was Pharaoh of Egypt.
So as part of our service today, we wanted to open the floor up. We mentioned earlier at the beginning, or I tried to prepare everybody, give you a moment to think about the power of words and descriptions, which we'll get to in a little bit with service, but talking a little bit about fatherhood and Father's Day testimonies. So through this, we invite anyone who feels moved to perhaps share a word or phrase or sentence maybe of what fatherhood maybe means to you, or a word that invokes the feeling or sense of fatherhood to you.
me, it would be provider.
Commitment.
For me, it's caregiver.
Putting your children's needs before your own issues with your parents and so on. But
Unconditional love.
I would say fun. My dad was the fun one in our family. My mom was a disciplinarian.
guide your children, but let them find their own way. Don't say you've got to be a doctor, you've got to be a lawyer, whatever.
For me, I would say it's trust. Like, I can still remember what it felt like to be, you know, held and carried by my father, and like stand on his feet and dance. And when like we go hiking, I look at him, like if there's a thunderstorm, like a lightning storm in the mountains, like I look at him to see what his reaction is before I am scared. Because I trust him. And in the same way, like I trust Kevin to, you know, take care of Misha when I'm away. Yeah, it's trust.
Beautiful. Thank you. So for everyone who added in, you can see that there are a lot of different perceptions or definitions or feelings, emotions that are connected to the concept of fatherhood. So whether you have, you know, positive or maybe even challenging connections with Father's Day, you know, we can revel in each other's enjoyment or connections with, you know, fatherhood and love and support and commitment, you know, regardless of our own maybe struggles or kind of joys, just like with joys and concerns. So thank you all for your testimonies, said and unspoken, for our Father's Day celebration. Which I believe brings us to the Chant of the Seasons by the BUUF musicians.
Time's a charm. Hey, it's Harvey and Tricia again, celebrating the summer solstice. The words will appear on the second go around. Please join in with Tricia. Keep your device on mute and sing along. Vernal clouds have turned the star wheel, summer is upon us.
Vernal clouds have turned the star wheel, summer is upon us.
Vernal clouds have turned the star wheel, summer is upon us.
Vernal clouds have turned the star wheel, summer is upon us.
Gliding are the hawks, hovering above the hot and yellow hillside.
Gliding are the hawks, hovering above the hot and yellow hillside.
Vernal clouds have turned the star wheel, summer is upon us.
Vernal clouds have turned the star
Crickets in the night, chirping in our ears, the sound of moonlit music.
Crickets in the night, chirping in our ears, the sound of moonlit music.
Vernal clouds have turned the star wheel, summer is upon us.
Vernal clouds have turned the star wheel, summer is upon us. Happy summer.
Beautiful. Thank you. So earlier we mentioned Akhenaten as a mover and shaker of religion, focusing around sun. As part of the opening words, we referenced an ancient Egyptian prayer. As part of that, said, "Great and living Aten, the sun, ordaining life, vigorously alive, our Father." Akhenaten's prayer references a living being that goes beyond a scientific view of the sun as a solar powerhouse. To understand the inner being referenced in prayer and poetry through the visible processes of the sun, it's kind of like trying to understand human beings by examining our digestion and how it converts food through energy or into energy. So why have so many religious systems throughout the ages called the sun our father, mother, or even elder brother? Writings in the 1930s by G. Purucker explained that as the heart and brain of its entire system, the sun sends a 12-faceted life into every atom of its own solar universe, of which we form an integral part. The sun is preeminently a giver of life. Cosmogonically, heard it both ways, the sun is technically our elder brother, but not at all our physical parent as a star, as scientific speculations would have it. Yet it is also in a vital sense our father or even mother, because through the sun come down the invigorating life streams from systems and worlds above ours. The sun is a storehouse of vital electric energies, and as the great pulsating heart of its system vitalizes and informs the endless hosts of being under its systemic sway. If the universe is an organism composed of living beings in all stages of growth, stars like our sun are the visible remnants of bright celestial entities whom we may properly call gods. Far ahead of us in their spiritual evolution, they represent a certain class of beings whose inner aspects are invisible, just as the aspects that make and drive a human being are. The bright disk we see in the sky is not just the true sun, but merely a visible effect of its energies in our physical plane. There's so many wonderful teachings of the ancient wisdom in relation to our inexhaustible life giver, the sun. Eclipses, for example, like we have recently experienced last weekend, are of great significance because of the effects of the sun and moon pulling on the earth, and alternatively of the sun and earth pulling on the moon. Not only gravitational pull, but psychomagnetic pull, producing great surges of vital energy between the sun, moon, and earth at these times. I'm sure many of us feel the effects of the full moon, or Mercury being in retrograde. If anybody's had any communication issues over the last couple of weeks, could be why. But amongst the grandest teachings is the sun's role in the initiations of highly evolved human beings at special times of the year and at certain cycles when the earth stands in propitious alignments with it. This is not only something far away. We should remember that in the initiation of daily experience, a portion of our spiritual heart is solar substance, to which we shall return self-consciously one day. In our lives here and now, we can strive to identify with the solar essence of ourselves, keeping in mind that in the distant future, if we run the evolutionary race all right, we shall assume the tremendous responsibilities of our father, mother, elder brother, and become stars ourselves. Long ago, the ancient Egyptians started their day with a prayer to the rising sun, saying, "Homage to thee, O Ra, the sun, at thy tremendous rising. Thou risest, thou shinest, the heavens are rolled aside. Thou art the gods, or king of the gods, thou art the all-comprising. From thee we come, in thee we are deified. Today in India, many Hindus repeat a prayer to the hidden sun known as the Gayatri, which similarly reminds us of our sacred relationship with this living being. In a moment, we will let it carry us through its warmth as we encounter our own initiations with daily life experience. But first, I'd like to talk a bit about the power of Sanskrit as a sacred sound. Sanskrit is a language that expresses the essence of what it describes. Unlike English, which tends to have a lot of different words to describe something, the concept of Sanskrit works on a vibrational level. For example, the Sanskrit word apaya is often translated as fearlessness, but the word is not merely that. It is the state of being fearless, as well as the fortified attitude with which one has strived to achieve the state of fearlessness, and the way one is received when this state is embodied. Apaya expresses all of these things through the vibration of the word itself, which, if repeated over and over like a mantra, will eventually communicate its essential meaning with us. We will feel the word's power start to shift us so that we embody the state of fearlessness. Understanding this essential vibrational power of Sanskrit leads and lends potency to the practice of the mantra and chanting. As for mantras, even with the Sanskrit translations, they can appear to be kind of like tongue twisters to our English-speaking mouths. So much of mantra practice is about pronunciation, so it may take some time and practice to feel comfortable during chanting. However, there are no hard and fast rules for chanting. It can be done silently or aloud, in a group or on your own. The act of speaking the mantra, even silently, allows the mantra to do its job. These sacred mantras have great value in and of themselves as conductors of sacred vibration, but they also have philosophical value in what they impart to the chanter. Whether we derive this information through the vibrations of the chant itself, through understanding the meaning of the words, or by embodying what the mantra puts forth, these mantras are containers of yogic wisdom that enhance not only our practice, but also who we are as human beings. So when we draw on words to describe things like we did earlier with our fatherhood testimonies, those are offering kind of mantras or allowing a vibrational existence of the good that we see in the world. So in honor of summer solstice and Father's Day, today I'd like to lead a chant of the Savitur mantra, which is also known as the Gayatri mantra. And I believe I recorded this ahead of time so I wouldn't mess it up. There are no hard and fast rules for chanting. It can be done silently or aloud, in a group or on one's own. The act of speaking the mantra, even silently, allows the mantra to do its job. However, you can strengthen and improve your practice by also focusing on the meaning of the mantra and pronouncing the Sanskrit correctly. Even so, without any intention and with halting pronunciation, you will still derive a benefit from the mantra practice, just as for someone trying to get in shape. Any exercise is good exercise. The Savitri mantra, also referred to as the Gayatri mantra, is one of the oldest mantras in Vedic tradition. This is because the presiding deity, or the deity that is pushing behind the mantra, is the deity known as Savitur. Savitur is the deity of the light and the sun. And of course, today on the summer solstice, it makes sense to invoke the deity Savitur in our mantra practice. As one of the oldest mantras known, it is thought to be beyond translation. Simply through the repetition of the chant, the deep meaning of the words and vibration eventually resonate throughout the body, effectively changing the consciousness of the chanter. The word Gayatri is a compilation of the roots Ga, to sing, and Yatri, protection. And this chant offers protection to our mind as we repeat the sacred series of sounds. On any given day, before light dawns, everything rests in darkness. And so it goes with us. Before we are moved to brighten the awareness and consciousness of the mind, we are in a state that is known as avidya, or lack of light. It is the power of word or speech that calls forth the light from the darkness, just as we find in the mythic cosmology of traditions throughout history and the world. The same is found in Vedic history, as Savitir, the force of the sun, brings the day into being with his magic and the power of speech. He is said to be one of the primary sons of the all-great mother of the Vedic tradition, Aditi. As a masculine god born from the primordial form, Savitir helps to negotiate between the realms of humans and nature. And one of the greatest forces of nature, which occurs daily, is the rising and setting of the sun. The sacred words of the Gayatri mantra are the syllables with which the Savitir brings this light forward to ignite the life and consciousness of the world. Translated here, we see earth, air, heavens. We meditate on Savitir, giver of light. May he illuminate our consciousness. I will repeat each line 3 times through, once to hear it, the other for you to repeat with me, should you feel called to do so. If not, you can allow the words to wash over you, hopefully illuminate a bit of your own consciousness, or at least find a sense of peace. Om Purvasvava, Om Purvasvava, Tatsaviturvarenyam, Tatsaviturvarenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat, Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat, Om Bhurva Swaha, Om Bhurva Swaha, Tatsaviturvarenyam, Tatsaviturvarenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat, Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Thank you. And Lisa, I believe now it is time to extinguish our chalice.
Our extinguishing words also come from Aaron Bruce and the Seasonal Soul. Acknowledge the fierce, powerful you that resides within. Take some time to recognize her, acknowledge things your fire does for you, express gratitude for that part of yourself. In the same ways we celebrate the summer sun that grows our gardens and warms our days.
I believe our musical benediction is moving forward to our celebration of the sun, but also recognizing that we have a full moon coming up. For some reason, I thought it was today, but it's Thursday. So, you know, just going to dance in the moonlight all week long.
So go in peace, friends. Look up, see the sun, recognize the warmth of the sun, the strength of the sun, and remember to bask in the moonlight later this week for the full moon.